of the High Court. Eunice, good morning.
Good morning to you.
How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good.
Thank you for having me.
Well, good to see you, and thank you for coming in this morning.
Thank you.
So, as we get into a conversation today, just before we do, Dennis is going to tell you where in the African continent he has been this week. Polly is smiling.
I'm laughing because Polly's like, oh my God, here we go.
And interpretation is what we're asking for both of you. All right, go ahead.
Well, let me maybe soften this by taking you to this country. We're facing north, so this is a country which we normally say boasts as the world's oldest civilization. Just the Great Pyramids. You already know the country I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. But the fun fact is, this country is the one that invented the 365-day calendar. Mm-hmm. They also invented, guess what? Toothpaste.
Really?
Yeah. So Egyptians started brushing their teeth long before everybody else.
Oh, okay.
We only caught up with it. They also came up with board games. These were very, very, very smart people.
Like snakes and ladders.
Yes. And that's why whenever you see animals in some of these games, you'll trace the roots back to it. So we're talking about Egypt. So the proverb today is, the camel cannot see the bend in its own neck. The camel cannot see the bend in its own neck. How do you interpret that?
I think it's like
Polly is looking to the heavens for divine.
Yeah,
not
really. I think for me it's like the way we say a barber cannot shave himself or herself. Mm-hmm. Like for example, if you're the media, you're the people who hold people to account. It's hard to retrospect on yourselves and tell yourself where are we going wrong. It would take somebody else to maybe let you know that.
Like Polly. Polly's already told you what she's come to do today.
She's gone straight to it, actually.
For the jacket, in this case, for the neck.
Interesting. Eunice?
I'd say almost the same thing, but use the Kiswahili one, nyani haoni kundule. Because the camel cannot see the bend, which is like its fault. But that's exactly what happens to us. We are so focused on ourselves, we do not see where we fall short, and we actually think we are right all the time. Mm-hmm. So I'd agree with Polly that it's an equivalent of, every other person can see where I'm bending, but I think I'm just having a long neck.
Well, seems like it's a proverb that fits our conversation.
Apparently. And even for us to open up that conversation, let's just get off from where Polly started. In terms of the work that we do, and then, of course, broadening this just a little bit, the work that we do, and when it comes to then media freedom and accountability. Mm-hmm. When we look at media freedom around the world, it is not, what we see today is not what it was even 10 years ago, or 20, or 30, or 50. And that we know that there are governments who have used their power or the authority that they wield as governments of nations to then curtail the messages that can come from media. Where media is widely accepted in many a country as the fourth estate, the kind of three monkeys on a wall, and then the fourth monkey is maybe separated from the other three, but essentially is doing its watchdog work. Mm-hmm. That's what the media has come to be accepted as in many nations of the world. Now, in terms of the freedom of the press, it's something that has been still being fought till today in very many jurisdictions. But whereas the time gone by that media would be gagged from speaking out about certain things, Kenya to an extent enjoys some of this freedom. But now when we start to ask the questions about what you can say, how you can say it, when you can say it, about whom you can say it, and why you can say it, when we start to ask questions about that, does it come from the place whereby perhaps the messages that come out are unpalatable? Or is it still in a place where we are still trying to remain or retain some kind of balance in our reporting? I'll start with you, Polly.
Thank you. Media freedom and media independence
in Kenya is guaranteed in our constitution. So it's something that we fought for. We got it, and we are here to safeguard it. When it comes to the issues of responsible media, where you have to strike the balance, because what are the interests? There could be political interests that push on one side, maybe commercial interests, and they may hinder the true independence and freedom of the media. As the Media Complaints Commission, we draw the line. Who is pushing who too far off the boundary? Because the Complaints Commission is the one that has mandate to enforce the code of conduct for the practice of journalism. And when we say enforcement, the whole entire goal is to ensure the media is accountable, to ensure that there are high standards of the media practice. Media freedom, when it's exercised with moderation and with responsibility, ensures that then the public can trust the media. When media is trusted by the public, it means it is empowered. An empowered media is what can only hold the power or the powerful to account. If you are, as a media, if you are not empowered, you would not have the energy to hold anyone to account, even including the powerful. The Media Complaints Commission then is constituted under Media Council Act of 2013 to be able to mediate and adjudicate on complaints that come from the media, between the government and the media, between the public and the media, and intra-media disputes. It does this by ensuring high standards and that the media is adhering to the code of conduct for the practice of journalism. So we draw the line. Yeah.
Okay. Where should do you think, Eunice, that because of that place that has been, accorded media in spaces, that you then should be able to report on anything and push a particular agenda so long as it is based on fact and truth?
I'll start. Let me say first yes to your question, and then go back to your earlier question where you're asking, where are we in terms of media freedom? Do we feel that we are in the right place? We are able to exercise media freedom as envisioned in the Constitution, or do we still have a very long way to go? And for me, I'd say Rome was not built in one day. We've come a very long way in media freedom. We are not there yet, but since the Constitution 2010 and the governments that we have had, I'd say we've made great strides in media freedom, but we are not there in terms of the question you asked about what do you report, how do you package it? Because when governments start to direct media on exactly how to frame your headline, for example, who you can talk about, how you can talk about them, that means we have not arrived at the aspiration of the provision of media freedom. We are heading there, though. And that's why this Constitution calls on you and I to rise up and defend it. If we feel that we are going towards our aspirations, but there is an obstacle that's coming along, it's a duty that we rise up and speak up. We will get there, but we won't get there by keeping quiet when we encounter obstacles. If we feel the government is encroaching on media freedom and we keep quiet, then we will not get to the aspirations of media freedom that are in the Constitution. So I'd say we are not there. We are headed there, But we have a duty. For us to get there, it won't just happen. We have to speak up, speak out, so that we can progressively get to where we want to be.
I mean, Polly, I hear what Eunice is saying, and I think you started off from that point of, drawing the lines, but then at the same time, there is what is enshrined in the Constitution. And, well, Kenya's Constitution then guarantees and protects freedom of expression and media. And we have seen time and time again, and like Eunice is saying, Rome was not built in one day. We've consistently kept seeing we make 2 steps forward, we take 3 backwards. So there's a lot of push and pull. And the issue that I have here is, while the Constitution as a document, which is alive, guarantees those freedoms and also for the media, it also places limits on the same. And this is where they will invoke national security. Which, again, is subject to anyone's interpretation. As they say, the law is very clear. But to one person, it's clear. To another person, it's not clear. Something else. Yeah. Yes. So there's national security. There is public order. There are even issues of morality. At this point where we are as a country, how do we interpret these limits without then having a government of the day weaponizing the same against its own people and against the media? The issue is interpretation. And you're talking about not going over the boundaries. Who then dictates that this is the boundary and this is not the boundary?
There is no blurriness in that line. It is very bright. And it goes back to the code of conduct for the media practice. That is your Bible. That is our Bible. That is the Bible for media enterprises, for the journalists. If you take the boxes of the code of conduct for media practice, right now we have the new revised code. We used to operate under the 2013 code of conduct for the practice of journalism, but to be able to be alive to the current issues like AI-generated content and stuff like that, we have a new, or rather a revised code of conduct. And that, for me, should be your true north. There should be no vagueness on what you should report. Yes, the Constitution guarantees media freedom and independence of the media, and the limits in terms of hate speech are there. When it comes to where do you draw the line, it's in terms of accuracy and verification of what you are reporting. And you cannot say that there are two truths or what is half truth. Truth is truth, and it stands like day and night. There is no two way about it. There is the issue of fairness and accountability. Yes, mistakes can happen in reporting. And if a complaint is raised, the media should be able to ask itself, did we publish the correct information? And if not, an apology then can go hand in hand. And if the members of the public or the government, they are aggrieved by the media, they cannot, or they are not expected by law to prosecute this in the streets of social media. Okay? There are avenues provided by law. Okay? You are aggrieved by today's headline. Ranting about it on social media will not help, because there are mechanisms that have been put by law to bring your complaints to the commission. Anyone can lodge a complaint to the commission. We have a procedure, we have a process on how we process these complaints, and the commission speaks through its decisions, okay, which are usually properly analyzed between the facts, the law, in the context of media and the environment. So for me, the line is very clear. There is no vagueness.
Eunice, is the line clear?
No, it is not. I want to disagree because like you said, it's subject to interpretation. Who is interpreting it? And the problem with interpretation is most people want to interpret the law and the rules and regulations to their advantage or to how they can benefit from them. So in terms of what is the guide, yes, we have the Constitution, we have the regulations, then we have the limits in government through the checks and balances. But because each of us wants to interpret to the law and the regulations to our advantage, it can't be that clear. So that would be my first point. My second point is there's no one way of dealing with the limits. If, for example, the media is following its code of conduct, but the executive or the government is of the opinion that they are overstepping, you can't really dictate to the executive that, no, you can't do anything except come to the Complaints Commission first. Neither can you tell the media or the public, you can't go on social media or you can't do this other thing. You have to come to the Complaints Commission first. So it's not that clear. Let me also first say that going on social media, going in the streets, protesting is all a part of addressing the excesses, particularly on the side of the public and the media. We cannot say that for us, as the public, our only avenue is the Complaints Commission following the laid down procedures, because part of our rights is demonstrating, picketing, and raising petitions. There is no prescribed mode of protest, so that we say me ranting on social media is not allowed or is not useful. It's actually very useful, and I depart with Pauline on that. It is very useful for people to speak up and speak out on social media, in the streets, everywhere, as long as you're within the confines of the limitations of expression and speech. You do not go beyond your rights to affect the rights of other people, and you do not go abusive. You're not abusive. You're not encouraging or having incitement, propaganda for war or destruction or violence. As long as you remain within those limits, you're free to express your disappointment, your disagreement, your protest, your objection in any way, form, or shape. The other thing I wanted to point out, I hope it's not escaping my mind, I'm losing my track of thought, is that if we say this is how we need to respond to an issue of government excess, or this is how the government should act in terms of when they are aggrieved, then we still limit the rights.
How so?
Because you're just confining them to, right now, if you have an issue with the media as government, the only way for you to react is to go to the Media Complaints Commission. That's not the only way. The government, we've seen many other ways that it does is uses its executive power, switches off, media off air. They have other ways they can do that except just come to the complaints. If the government is actually aggrieved in such a way, like it feels there's a threat to security, it won't have time to come and follow your process. If the public feels the executive has overstepped, for me personally, my first thought is not let me write formally to the Media Council, because that would be now, again, limitation of our rights to expression and freedom. And on the side of government, it would be curtailing their executive power.
Do you think that media is an agenda setting, or should be an agenda setting authority?
To respond to that, let me just say that what Eunice is saying is right. it's okay to go on social media and express yourself in whichever way that you feel aggrieved. However, if you want remedy, then you have to take it further. It will take more than just citing your grievance or your issues there. It will take maybe lodging a complaint. It does not necessarily mean it has to be the Media Complaints Commission. You can also go to court. Most of the ethical issues you find or breaches to the code, there is usually a fine line also with defamation. And you find that some cases will actually go straight to court. But the Media Complaints Commission is also guided by the provisions of Article 159 on alternative dispute resolution mechanisms. And we say we are usually the first point of call you come to if you are aggrieved by the media. It is within your right to protest, to write on your socials that you are unhappy about this. But if you need a remedy, a tangible remedy that is enforceable, then you will have to file a complaint, because the commission does not move itself. It has to be moved. To your question, does the media set the agenda?
Should it?
It should. And why not? Your role in the society cannot be underestimated. You inform people about what is going on. Most of the things that come to light to the public, they wouldn't know if it were not for the media. Matters pertaining to public interest must be imparted on the public. The public must be informed. They must be informed truthfully. And this is the other thing. Most of the time you'll find an issue probably that is trending on the socials. But believe you me, at the end of the day, the media that is trusted, that is the fallback for the public to go and check, oh, I'm seeing this being said. Is this true? And it's for the media enterprises to ensure that they are the go-to media enterprises who is trusted in this sphere of information. In a world full of misinformation, deepfakes, AI-generated content, voices, your voice could be somewhere right now saying something that you're not aware about it.
As it has, yeah.
The question then, the public ask themselves, who do we go to? Msema kweli ni nani? And that is the differentiation with a professional media and a media that is not professional.
You know, if we look at standards and global standards, there is what then you can call putting your house in order. Locally, you set your house rules, that this is what we do in our house. But in comparison to the neighbors, what is everybody else doing? Now, global human rights instruments like Article 19 of the ICCPR, to which Kenya is actually a signatory, protect freedom of expression and access to information. Because we've talked about freedom of expression, where the limits are, where the borderlines are, but there is also this other element of access to information. The public cannot, without the media in this case, whether it's social media, whether it's mainstream media, traditional media, whatever you might call it, if I want to know today what's happening in Kisumu, I need access. I can either take a flight for 5 minutes, 50 minutes, I'm in Kisumu, to figure out what's going on there. Or I can sit in Nairobi, try to look for this information. I've heard something has happened in Kisumu. We lost a lawyer this week, and the thing happened in the evening. But by nighttime, people are still asking, so who exactly is this person? People are speculating on social media. People want to know, who is this lawyer? Because names are being dropped. Now, where people then go to is they go to the what you would call the traditional media, to authenticate trusted media, to understand, oh, so this is actually then what happened. Now, we've had a situation here where we currently, like Eunice was saying, there are moments when somebody can use or weaponize, take advantage of what you are doing or saying, when they're in a position where it's to their advantage. But if they're crossing to the other side, they will be the first people who are going to fight for you. We had protests this year, and this was a spillover of what happened with the finance bill protest last year. And there was a moment when we were shut down. All right? So then people couldn't tell, okay, what's going on around the country. My question is, when governments then block or censor or control or shut down media, obviously they limit the citizens' right to information. Now, people lose access to independent reporting. And the reason why we do these things as journalists, it's not to cause mayhem by highlighting the violence that people are witnessing on the streets. It's for accountability and transparency. It's because media plays a watchdog role then, because during protest, we document police conduct, government response. If it were not for the media, we would not have known the story of Bernard Kariuki. We would not have known the issues of, and all these things were captured. From last year's protest, cameras captured police officers doing these things. So my question then is, with our current landscape, do we even have a balance? Or today, somebody in government can feel like, okay, these people this morning, these things they're discussing, we need to shut this situation down now. And they actually shut it now and just do it.
There is balance. And I think the court pronounced itself and keeps pronouncing itself on such issues where there is an overstep, especially by the government. And I think what everyone is looking for, because the media will try to inform as much as it can for the public to be informed on public issues or public interest issues. And we may have maybe the government feeling there is an overstep by the media. Instead of arbitrarily just shutting down a station or arresting a journalist, then it behoves on the government to use the systems that are there to prosecute their issue. And they say, in terms of ethical practices or responsible media, this media station has overstepped its mandate.
According to whom? According to the mandate set about by the law? Or is there a mandate that can be created by people's minds and their perceptions?
The code of conduct, the code of conduct for the practice of journalism, it's your code.
I know what our code is.
And therefore,
can somebody who doesn't abide by that code say that the media is not following or achieving or staying by its mandate?
And that is why the Complaints Commission is there to look at your complaints, to say, to look at you be the government in this case would be the complainant, because in every grievance you must ask yourself, who is the complainant here? What are they complaining about? Then you, as the respondent, the media house, the journalist, you are called on the table, maybe to articulate the accuracy of this issue. If the government is saying maybe there was biasness or it was unfair, the headline was not attributing the content therein, it's the work of the Media Complaints Commission to look at the matter at hand and come up with a decision. And in this case, there are many remedies that we have been given by the law.
Okay. Let me give you an example.
Yes.
Just day before yesterday, when unfortunately Wakili was murdered on Tuesday evening. By the time it was being reported by several media houses, one particular media house came under attack, and they said, "You have just said city lawyer, and this is irresponsible reporting because you have not told us who it is." Now, when I went to the School of Journalism, for the years that I went, the first thing that they tell you is that there's an element called breaking news, whereby you give the known facts at the time with all protocols being served. That means if the family in a case like this has not been informed, you cannot mention their
the
name until they have been informed, and then you make it public information. Now, not knowing the back end of this, the public outcry is that media is being irresponsible in their reporting because you don't know who it is, and that you have thrown other people into a state of panic. Because they are unaware. Which is responsible? That I said just a city lawyer and that I didn't say the name? Or what then if it came before you and they said, no, look, they have said without a name, they've not told us who it is, and the rest of us are here panicking? Or do I say a name? Yes, we knew who it was. Or the media house knew who it was at that time.
But
the family
waiting.
had not been informed.
Yeah.
Who then gets to say that this is your mandate and that you have fallen short of it? That's an example that's playing out today.
Without necessary, if that is an issue that has that could potentially land on the commission's table. So I may not directly talk to that particular issue of the lawyer, because anybody, whether it's that media enterprise or the public, could bring that case to the commission. However, when the commission sits, they are in a position to summon the journalist or and ask for evidence or witnesses or what was happening around that particular issue. If the journalist or the media house can actually attest that they were waiting to verify information, then the commission would speak through its decision to the appropriate remedy therein. But without a complaint, it would be hard to prosecute a hypothetical issue, which actually right now, maybe it's on the way to the commission or could potentially land on the commission's table. But in that case, yes, whether the journalist is right or wrong depends on the whole context. And when a matter is brought before the commission, we would have to look at the whole context, the allegations therein, the remedies being sought by the person who is complaining. And it is after that that we would speak through the decision that we make.
Okay.
I would like, thank you. I would like to tie that with what you said about the media setting the agenda. And I would like to say, yes, the media should set the national agenda. And in that say, because of your responsibility, and we can't take that away from the media, that it's an important voice as the fourth estate. It's relied on for information, education, and generally the public uses it to understand what's going on in the places that they cannot reach. So in that sense, the media has a very big responsibility to set the agenda. And because your question was, should it?
Yes.
Yes, they have that right.
Okay.
The duty comes with the right to set the agenda.
Let me push off
So
of that.
that-
Okay.
Before I lose
Sorry,
this,
go ahead.
so that we come to this particular issue you asked, my question would be to the media, what agenda in that case are you setting by putting out that headline? You know your role is to report with the known facts while you wait for the known facts. But in that particular minute item of reporting, is it necessary to report at that time, or could you probably hold a little bit, because you will balance for you between what is important? Is it putting out that a city lawyer has been killed to cause anxiety to all of us? I can't tell you how many calls I got because I'm a city lawyer.
Sure.
So they want to find out, was I close? Am I the one? Probably all advocates in the city got those calls.
Indeed.
So you have to first think of your responsibility. Do I want to cause anxiety by just putting out the headline, or would I just wait a little to get the full known facts, and also for the family, the next of kin and all that to be notified. For me, in this particular instance, I'd fault the media. Why? Because there was really no urgency to report city lawyer dead. If only they had waited maybe another half hour for the family to be informed. Already there was buzz in all social media. Someone has been killed on Langata Road near Karen. Nobody was really keen at that point to just say it is a lawyer or it's a city lawyer. So if only the media could have waited half hour, maybe even an hour, doesn't matter, but for the family to be informed and all that, it would not have caused the anxiety. So in that particular instance, it's the role of the media and your duty to really weigh before you put out a headline. What agenda do you want to set? Because you have a duty to set the agenda. You also have the right to set the agenda. So the onus is on you to ask what agenda you want to set at that point. And I want to add that in thinking about that, it comes with goodwill, which answers also the question we were discussing earlier on when it comes to excesses, government, media. Where do we balance? Do we have a balance? We don't have a balance. Why don't we have a balance? Because we don't have a meeting of the minds. If collectively, as media, as public, as government, our goal is the good of our society, improvement of our civility, enforcement and enjoyment of our rights, then we won't have a clash. The balance will come. But as we stand today, we don't have a balance. And you find
There is no balance.
there is no balance according to me and in my view. We don't have a meeting of the minds, because what is happening is the media has its driving force. The government has its driving force. It's not the collective good and service of the people.
Is there
Not-
anywhere in the world where there is a balance between media and government in terms of reporting and an agenda? In the world?
I'd say there is nowhere, but the degrees vary. There are those who are ahead of us, and there are those who are behind us. So we are not there yet, and I don't think you can achieve that optimum balance, like an equilibrium of balance in terms of the rights and their achievement. Otherwise, we won't have a society as a normal society, because a normal society is that it's not perfect. So I would say, since we don't have perfection, and we are not going to have perfection, we don't have a balance, we are not going to achieve an equilibrium. What we fight for, though, is that the good overpowers the bad.
Okay.
But if I may say, the opposing forces, to me, they are healthy
Okay.
and they are necessary in the quest for a democratic environment. They are necessary, they are healthy. And that's why somebody must check either. The government must be checked, the media must be checked. And the question is, on matters media, who checks? And it's the Media Complaints Commission. Yes.
Okay.
You know, this conversation, at the risk of putting our dirty laundry out there,
I will bequeath you the.
are you allowing me to?
Please.
You know, you know, we can't run away from certain facts because there's something you brought up. Let's look at, because our media is still young. There are other democracies, like Paul you've said. So you'll find, when you talk about democracy within our space, there are countries that are 200 years old and they have more experience. Let's take, for example, in the US, when you watch CNN and you watch Fox, for example, same event, same subject, but the conversations will be totally different to the extent that if you're following one or the other, your perception will be, wait a minute, something is terribly wrong here. You flip On the other side, you're thinking, wait a minute. Actually, it's the other side. Something is happening. And all these conversations are around who owns media, essentially. Because we can talk about self-regulation, we can talk about balance, we can talk about ethics and all this. Who sets these things? At the back of it all, there was a time in this country where FM stations, and so many of them, before now the government came in and said, look, there are a lot of people who own FM stations. They are not actually live. Somebody goes, buys a frequency, keeps it to himself. And what they found, interestingly, it was politicians who are actually buying and keeping this and selling them off later. You look at media setups across the world, their leanings, depending on who pays your salary, who owns it. And so when you talk about balance, is it even realistic? And we're not just looking at the Kenyan situation, you're just looking globally. All the big media organizations you can think of. Because there's the agenda setting. But then at the end of the day, you have to be professional. You have to balance your facts, your truths, and all these things. There is a ghost behind all this conversation that we're having here.
Thank you for saying you have to be professional.
Yes.
Because there's media and then there's professional media.
Okay. What's the difference?
Yeah, there is a difference. I think today in Kenya we have almost over 100 radio stations. And if you look at the ownership of these radio stations, mainly they are owned by politicians. And any business enterprise has an interest behind it or has an owner behind it. And when you were talking about the interests that push the media either to gag itself, to self-censor itself, they could be commercial, they could be political. Then your call as a professional media, your call as a professional media is to uphold the truth, verify your information, check your sources, ensure there is veracity in everything you publish. Okay? And as you do that, that does not mean you do not hold the powerful to account, and not just the powerful, the people who actually employ you. Because you have the support of the Constitution, the Media Council Act, Article 33, 34, 35, they have your back. And all they are asking for, be responsible in what you do. Uphold the code of conduct for the practice of journalism. The current code has several articles. But even if you read all of them and sing them by song, they all boil down to accuracy, fairness, proper presentation of facts, nothing more. And that's all you're being asked to. Is it okay to skew your news for clicks? That is the whole difference between you and a professional and a media person out there who does not care for what is right.
Now, here lies the challenge,
Yes.
and I want to bring in unison this as well. You, from experience, Undu is an experienced journalist. You've covered stories. I've covered stories. The challenge with that is this. Information is currency, and it matters who actually goes to trade first. And there is an element in the newsroom we call scoop. So in the case, in the case, Eunice, you're raising about the lawyer, for example, and people are saying, why wouldn't you tell us the name?
Get it out first.
You need to go with the breaking news. So if Polly, you're a thief, and you're a public person.
Yes.
So the first thing that I will do is establish, did you really steal? The answer is yes. Then I will say, breaking news, Polly
Has to.
has stolen.
Before
Then,
we find out
before we go to now other fact finding,
what
because
she stole, who, from,
because it may
yeah.
take a week to get all the facts. How
That can
much
land
did
you
steal?
in the wrong books of the commission.
From
No,
the practice
but-
of
You know
media,
why?
I
Yes.
have not lied.
Yes.
I have given I have established the primary truth.
Does your code say that if you are going to mention somebody in an adverse way, you have the obligation to seek a comment from them.
Now, I was coming to that.
It's a scoop.
If I seek a comment, this
Because
is what happens in this country.
imagine what damage, even for your own sake, imagine the damage it would cause to you as a journalist or a media enterprise if you failed to just seek a comment from that person you are adversely mentioning, calling them all manner of names, and then it just turns out you are wrong.
So go to your next point.
So
Dennis.
my next point was this. So it so happens that, fine, Polly is a thief. That's the headline. Now, as a professional journalist, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try reach out to you.
Yes.
I have your phone number.
Yes.
I call you, you do not pick. I text you, you do not respond.
Fair enough.
I WhatsApp you, you blue tick me.
Good.
The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find out somebody who's close to who may have that information. The people we call sources.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's allowed in our profession. So I will quote a source or a report that then suggests that indeed you stole. So, and this happens a lot in our profession. So in trying to seek answers, people shield themselves or shut themselves out, thinking shutting themselves out means these people are not going to publish this.
And too bad. They should be educated. If you reach out, and indeed you show that you reached out as a journalist to seek a comment or a right of reply from the person you are going to mention, and they did not respond, and there is a blue tick on their WhatsApp, and there is a call log, it is enough for you to go ahead and splash the headline. It is.
Eunice doesn't like that story.
I don't mind the story.
You can call Polly a thief, then find out the other details.
Find out the rest later.
Yeah. So let me begin with the scoop. I'll go back to the call of the journalists and media. What interest is driving you? And really, like we said, it's about, I want to say this has to boil down to individual calling, the conviction. The media is owned by so and so. So their political inclinations are this, and that's the agenda they want to push. The money, the pecuniary bit calls for this kind of scoop. But what's the real call? The real call is responsibility, truth, fact-finding, and setting the right agenda. The right agenda. That is what you want to do, service to the people. So do you want to just be driven by personal interests, which are many and varied, or can we trust the media to really answer to their call? If we answer to our calls, our individual calls, then we are going to be at the place I first spoke about, which is a meeting of the minds. We are all working for the greater good of society. And I set my personal interests aside for a little bit and push the greater good of the society. Because if all of us are going to be pushed by our personal interests, then we will remain with only aspirations. And you had asked the question, is this balance even achievable? We said it is not achievable. We are not going to get at an equilibrium and be at 100% balance. However, because we want the greater good to reign, can we strive? We can't really be seen to be moving away from the main agenda, which is serving the people, greater good of society, to just the scoop and the money and our politics.
Okay. There's a lot more to the story, of course. I mean, we who are, with the pen in our hands, we see things in a very, very different perspective, obviously. But at the end of the day, the greater good and information comes out through. But it's very important to have these conversations as well. And obviously, it's not the last time that we will. And I think it's necessary to pursue these conversations on a more regular basis. But we want to thank you for being here this morning. Eunice Nganga Salisbury is an advocate of the High Court. Polly Gathoni, is the Vice Chair of the Media Complaints Commission. Both have been our guests this hour. Asante Sana.
Asante
Thank
sana.
you.
so much.
Thank you for having me.
It's 9:01. Good morning.
Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.